Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Thank you all once again checking me out. Of course, I love and appreciate you all. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. This is the continuation of that video, the what if scenario. All right. So, we left off talking about what if the purpose of the culmination of all these lifetimes that many of us have led and of the times that we are in now is that if we at least held on long enough to not destroy ourselves as we continue our orbit, or rather our revolution around the galaxy, right? So just to refresh everyone's minds on that quickly, all of us are cognizant of the cycles that we utilize all the time, like the rotation of our planet on its axis to give us our days, and our orbit around the sun to give us our year, right? Those cycles. But I many times have spoken about a larger cycle that we need to pay attention to, and in fact is acknowledged in the astrological wheel. Our solar systems traversing around our galaxy, right? Making its sort of orbit around the galaxy, as all solar systems in this galaxy do, right? So that's what I'm referring to, right? The maturing that we did as a species, and the fact of us being able to hold on and survive long enough to make it to this point in the galaxy, or this point in our traversing our way around, to this part of our orbit around the galaxy. Because again, the the energies available to us in this part of the galaxy truly transformative, right? And the fact that we did, in fact, survive as a species on this planet, the dominant sentient species on this planet. Not that it's about dominance, but we have held that, and with that comes the responsibility of also being the shepherds and stewards of this planet, which we have failed at to some degree, just because of our immaturity, but have at least begun to realize that. And our newly gained maturity, we've looked at ourselves and our behavior on this planet and our impact on this planet due to our behavior a lot more closely than we ever have before. And that's a sign of collective maturity, right, on our behalf. So that's a check mark toward the good in the column for man on the planet. So again, we have survived and made it to this point to be able to have an opportunity, right? An opportunity for each and every individual to take in these energies and be able to, quote unquote, ascend to a higher consciousness, right? For us to collectively, quote unquote, ascend to a higher consciousness, which just reflects the way that we behave on this planet, right? That's what we're talking about. Because your consciousness plays out in your behavior on this planet. And collectively, if we have a higher consciousness, that plays out in a higher behavior on this planet, which is in line with higher vibrational frequencies that we be living in this particular part of the galaxy. That is also providing for us an opportunity to take a bit of an evolutionary jump, right? We're already seeing it manifest in these children, and will continue to do so. And I've talked about that. That's a bit of another video. But so what if that is the whole point, right? For us to have survived to make it to this point, to have this opportunity before us, right? To take this jump, to ascend, to grow up as a species, right? That's the bottom line. It's time to grow up, folks. It's time to be more mature as a species, particularly with this beautiful planet that we've been given. And we have, like I said, made incredible strides, particularly in the last decade, right? Where we've seen so much trouble and strife in the world. If you look with a discerning eye, you also see the maturity. And again, it shows up in the young folks. Just pay attention to them, look at them, listen to them, without the judgment of trying to fit them and their personalities into the box that you've been given to grow up in. And I say that to folks, my generation and older. Let's try and make sure that we do that, because now more than ever, the phrase "the children are the future" is quite true. All right, but again, what if that's the point of all this, right? To us to spiritually mature. For those, now we know that nothing happens in complete synchronicity in terms of people. In other words, we won't all have 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute where we all wake up and mature to a certain point. There are those, who have begun this spiritual ascension years and years and years ago. I'm talking, 20, 30 years ago, when we started to first line up astrologically with this house, right? With this section of the galaxy and the energies therein. So I say that to say there are those of us who certainly will be a little further along in the process than others, and that only makes sense. It's set up, or what if it's set up that way, right? For there to be way showers, folks who are a little further along in the process to help those others along in the process as well, as we will all eventually get to a general maturity, right? A general ascension point, if you want to call it that. What if being these immortal beings, because again, it's not questioned, right? Pull up whatever science you want to come up with, and I challenge you. Still, no one has answered me on this. How do you destroy matter? How do you destroy energy? How do you destroy consciousness? 3 things that we're all made up of. So it's not a stretch to say that we are in fact immortal in some way, right? Our physical bodies, no, they're not immortal. But everything else is. So, why would you consider yourself anything less than that? So when you encompass that along with the concept of multiple lifetimes, and the benefit of that being all the lessons you would have learned and all the wisdom gained from those lifetimes, adding to your individual spiritual maturity, and collectively our spiritual maturity, and all of that got us to this point. What if all of that, think about that for a second. What if all of that got us to this point? Now what? Forward, that's what. We go forward in establishing our new paradigm. What if, with the Mayans and the Aztecs to some degree, and many other indigenous species, or it's not species, but civilizations, right? Many other indigenous folks throughout the African continent, here in the Americas, all over the planet. Listen to the indigenous, right? For they have told us of this. They knew of the precession of the equinox. They knew that we would get to this part of that if we got to this part of the galaxy, still here, vibrant and thriving on this planet, that we would have this opportunity to move into a new world. What if those predictions were not of doom and gloom like we have been taught that they were? What if they were talking about the end of the world, as in the end of the old paradigm, the end of the way the world used to work? The end of the way the world used to work. Because if you do a little more research, you realize it wasn't just that their calendar stopped and they predicted an end to the planet, or an end to some sort of Armageddon on the planet. That's in fact what they pointed to, because they had a new calendar that began anew with a new paradigm, a new way that the world works. And that's where we're at now, folks. So I want to say, truly, don't hamper yourselves with those old prophecies. We've lived beyond all that. There are no prophecies for this time. We're creating what happens going forward, right? What if? What if? And what if it's even bigger than that? What if you are even bigger than that? You know, what's dude say diving deep, right? How deep y'all want to dive with me? What if you are bigger than that? What if you have done this before? What if you, old soul, have seen a species ascend on a planet before? What if you have assisted and played a role in that process before? The same role you're playing here with this beautiful species. Man. Ooh. Then my ufologist ears perk up, because they'll start talking about the fact that there are humanoid species throughout the galaxy. Hold up. Hold up. How old are you, old soul? Have you done this before? What if? What if you have? Wouldn't this be time to celebrate one more again? Old soul. What if it's time to celebrate, folks? What if it's time to celebrate? Let's move forward, cementing our new paradigm. A high vibrational frequency paradigm, with all the isms falling away, with the control systems that the socio-economic elite have held on this planet for millennia falling away. With that negative low vibrational frequency influence in all of the institutions that affect our everyday lives falling away. What if it's time for a high vibrational frequency influence in all of those things, where we adopt not a selfish separation mentality, right? Where we look at things holistically through a unity consciousness and try and develop systems that are cyclical systems, not linear systems that are finite, but cyclical systems that create things that are better for us all in all the institutions that affect our everyday lives. What if it's time for a beautiful new step forward, in maturity, in spiritual maturity on this planet? What if that's the time now? Wouldn't that be a time to celebrate? What if? What if? I love you all. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. I'm out.